Hello, I am U.S. National Treasure Jonathan Riley O'Neill Walls, and I'm going to present a presentation entitled Ha 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 today. Now, you may be asking yourself, why? Why is the title of my presentation the same single-syllabled onomatopoeic word typed 3 times consecutively? Why has every word thus far been in lowercase letters? And why does it seem that I am taking this presentation very lightly? Because I am. And that is exactly the notion that I hope to get across in the next 5 minutes. Everything is not so serious. And frankly, sometimes laughing at a situation or even at yourself can be the key to enjoyment. Humor, in itself, transcends just mere silliness. Laughter is not only the best medicine, but it's actually a highly intellectual means of coping with extreme situations or developing new perspectives. This is something that we humans often forget and that we're very fortunate to have. Though there are some animals like rats or primates that have exhibited signs of understanding humor, most of the animals that we dealt with in the past week, from birds, dogs, horses, and cows, don't have this trait. They, being very primal animals, only have the potential response of fight or flight when reacting to a negative stimulus. They don't possess the means to disarm an enemy with a witty comment or perform an imitation for self-pleasure. And this ability to joke is actually so great, that, so monumental, that the first governmental action in Nazi Germany was to establish a law that condemned anti-Nazi humor as treason. This is how much inherent potential that humor has. And it can be wielded as both a shield and as a weapon. It soothes the deepest wounds, and it threatens the most malicious enemies. Now, with all this hubbub about humor, I'm sure you're all begging the question, how do we laugh biologically? And I am going to tell you. It is proven that laughter releases serotonin and endorphins in the brain. As well, it increases the activity of your anterior cingulate cortex, which helps you create problem solve more creatively and have those like aha, eureka moments. As well, it actually takes both hemispheres in your brain to understand a joke. The left side processes your words, and the right side actually works to understand the joke. And if all goes well, typically it will elicit a state of happiness. But the opposite is true when you experience something very sour, like watching a horror movie or being dropped off at a random person's house for 5 days to live by yourself in a country you've never been in. And during these experiences, it actually works to decrease the activity of your anterior cingulate cortex, so you actually cannot think as creatively, which is actually what I went through when I first got to my host family. So let's talk about skinning my knee. When I first got to my house, I technically didn't talk to my family at all because I was very afraid of my inability to speak Spanish, and I chose to silence myself because I didn't want to make any grammatical errors. But this was quelled very briefly and very easily because of a walk I took on a very dimly lit path on a very poorly paved road to and from my host mother's intramural soccer game. The first night we went with her and her daughters, and on the way back, I was kind of strutting because I wanted to come off as very confident and sophisticated. But long story short, I was kind of unaware that loose-fitting sandals and gravel roads are natural-born enemies because I was wearing these shoes and I wiped out walking down a hill. Like I really wiped out. Like for a moment in time, I was good in the air and then I was on the ground. And you better believe that my host sisters were not afraid to make fun of me and the high-pitched giggle that I had and how flailing my arms were when I fell. And despite the fact that my host mother was very concerned that I skinned my knee or broke a leg, the only thing that broke that night was the ice between me and my host family, and the ice between me and my insecurity. And throughout the rest of the week, and all the many failed attempts I had at trying to make a cool shirt in Yama's design studio, I became keenly aware of the fact that laughter isn't really the result of a joke. Often, laughter is a sign of agreement, understanding that you like someone, even that you love someone, because laughter is behaviorally contagious, and laughter is always very meaningful. So, why? Why then was the guy who was sadly awarded the title of class clown in Providence High School's 2015 graduating class suddenly unavailable to realize this? As very few of you know, I've been through multiple daunting and demoralizing events in my life, and I'm currently facing something very confusing and very emotional at this time. And the reason that these instances keep resonating with me is because I refuse to laugh at them, when in essence they are very funny. But I've been far too primal in my approach to them. I have fought them, and I've decided to flee from them. And I owe so much thanks to my host family and for Yamalat for teaching me a new strategy in dueling against the enemies that I fear the most. Because Yamalat helped me solidify the notion that, yeah, life is going to continue to mess up your shirts. And my host family solidified the notion that, yeah, you're going to keep falling in a pile of rocks. But that is fine, and that is funny. So, now what? Obviously, I'm not going to tell all the specificities of the things that I've gone through and how I'm going to deal with them. But I can end this presentation about humor with a quote about humor that really in itself is not very funny. And it goes like this. Imagination was given to man to compensate him for what he is not. A sense of humor was given to man to console him for what he is. Thank you. Any questions? No? No?